Hi, I came up with this idea for what I thought, and everyone I've spoken to has thought was a really great card game based on evolution. However, I don't want to put the effort into developing this idea to make it into a full-fledged game, because that's not really what I do. So I'm putting it out here. If anyone wants to do anything with this idea, or just send me an email at nerdcube.co.uk. I think that's it. And I'm happy to sign over all rights and everything. Maybe name in the credits. I'd like credits. But anyway, yeah, no. Feel free to take it on if that's something you'd like to do. But anyway, the idea based on evolution. I did consider calling the game Intelligent Design, or maybe just something like Survival of the Fittest. Again, title, one of those things I didn't work on and wasn't necessarily a big part of the game because it's quite a specialised game. So the game starts off where everyone gets a card with a set of abilities for a race. Everyone has the same race, and everyone starts off with a race with the same abilities and the same resources they gather from the area, so nothing changes. Then the next thing that happens is you end up with a big deck of cards which are known as your mutant deck. So that gets shuffled every game, and then you deal over some mutant cards, and then your mutant cards of course have certain genetic changes which are unusual aspects. Now the next phase, which happens during the turn, is that everyone then gets to bid on the characters that they want. We'll use a fairly standard bidding system. Everyone has a number of natural resources, and you then bid the number of natural resources that you have to try and win over the mutants that there are. I forgot to say there'll be one more mutant than there are players, so in a two-player game it should be 3 mutants. Each of you takes turns bidding on mutants until neither of you want to go any further, and then the mutants go to whichever side has bid more on them. Anyone who doesn't get bid on gets put on a discard pile. Now, the second phase of the turn is the attack phase. Because winning a mutant isn't good enough, because as we all know, you don't evolve by having someone who's a mutant. That person actually has to be bred into the community, and only through their genes does it become successful. Mutants aren't all useful. Some mutations are rubbish, like cancer, for example. But lots of mutations really good, like, for example, degrading chromosomes, which helps counteract cancer, and is one of the reasons we age. I think. I could be talking rubbish. Anyway, go watch, Vsauce if you want to know actual real information, which has been verified. I imagine he verifies his stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so yes, you've got the mutant, you've won your mutant, you're now going to combat. So you now have a second set of resources. So you have resources which are resources, and then you have the number of people alive in your tribe. And that is another thing that you have as a player. So the next thing you do is you decide how many of your tribe members you're going to keep, how many you're going to use in defense, and how many you're going to attack with. If you attack at the moment, you will attack 1-to-1. So if you attack one of your opponent's side, you will kill off anyone who's defending it, and if you get through all of the people defending it, you kill off their mutant, which means they've spent all of their resources gathering this mutant, and now it's gone, and they're left with nothing. So this is particularly vicious, so you want to be quite defensive if you've got something valuable. Anyone who is defending and isn't attacked goes back into your tribe. Anyone who was attacking and didn't get taken out by a defender actually still goes. So it always costs people to attack, but defending or not using people at all is less of a danger, to try and give you a reason to not always attack with everything. So then that's the end of that turn in this game, because you know it's customary to come up with stupid phrases for things that everyone's going to call turn order or something. These turns are in fact referred to as generations, because each turn is a generation of your species. So what happens is you've succeeded, you've got your mutant. Now the special ability of your mutant, which up until now has meant nothing, now joined your tribe, and now for every turn until the end of the game you have a special ability just because you acquired that card. So that means that as you go through, you slowly evolve your creatures, which all started out the same, into different species, because they end up with these subspecies by acquiring these special abilities. The reason that resources are important, the resources we spent on the bidding, is because at the end of the turn, when you prepare for the next generation, depending on how many resources you had left over that you didn't spend buying people with special abilities, so I'm imagining people have like 5 or 6 resources, and if you have 5 or 6 resources and you spent none of them, you don't have any special powers, but it means you have a much higher reproduction rate, which means for every 2 of your villagers you might get 6 children per family, because they can support large families because they've got loads of resources. And then it would go down to 5, 4, 3, 2 or 1, depending on if you spent nothing, you actually lose half of your task force because there were so few resources that you didn't manage to breed very well. So that means you've then got less people to attack and defend with later. So there's this big balance between when do you want to push to get hold of a mutant ability and when do you want to play more towards your tactical side. So that's the main process of the game, is trying to evolve both your how many citizens do I have, and also acquire the correct special abilities, because the special abilities would be things like, you know, you can have a sexy mutant who then means that you automatically get a +1 to your evolution ratio, so you always get more people, which either allows you to spend more points and be safe, or allows you to massively overpopulate and beat everyone on overpopulation. Or you can have someone who, like a sturdy mutant, which means that then suddenly your defense goes up, so it takes 2 people on defense to block off 3 attackers, or something like that. Or some sort of natural healing or a natural defense by which it actually takes 1 attacker just to break down the first defense before anyone else counts. So there's actually a cost to attacking. Things like this would be the sort of things that these special mutant deck would have, and most, if not all of them, would be unique cards, so that each game would be different and have some sort of feeling to it. How do you win the game? Well, quite frankly, there's going to be, in your deck of mutant cards, there will be 3 or 4 victory cards. Things like someone creates fire, someone creates language, someone creates the wheel. Something that's so monumental that it goes, and that anyone who has that is going to massively outrun everyone else so quickly that they've won. But of course you have to bid on that person and then keep them alive, and of course everyone's going to send attacking people after that person just to get rid of them, and that's not what we're after. We want to get that person alive, and each of the 3 would have an order of importance, so that if 2 people both got a winning bid at the last second, they could still fight, because if I kill off, there's no way of a draw, so that person won. And then to make sure that you didn't, you know, kill all 3 of those, anyone who dies and anyone who isn't bid on goes into a discard pile, and then once you finish through the original pile, you reshuffle the discard pile, and then you keep going on with the new deck reshuffled. So eventually you can get to a point where every mutant is on the field, and you can definitely be looping the winning conditions. But I imagine that most people will have had a winner before then. and someone would have managed to succeed. So that's the game. It's not going to be made, but it was a fun idea, and I thought I'd share that with you. I tried to make it very authentic to a real evolution theme, rather than, you know, you give cards to an animal and it becomes something different, because it was actually generationally, and I really felt kept with the theme of evolution and nature. Let me know what you think. I will get better at checking the comments. I've been on a mental holiday or something. Bye!